Forward TV. The world is thinking.
But it's not just safety that's become an institutionalized prism, if you like, through which things are looked at. I also started to look, just for this talk, at the issue of violence over the last month or so. And I thought it was quite interesting that I hadn't realized how much violence in and of itself has become a kind of framework for organizations to develop research to be produced and so forth. And again, this is trying to think of how issues that we're looking at today, like violent crime in particular, has become such a big issue. So in 2002, there was a world report on violence by the World Health Organization. In 2005 in Scotland, you had this Scotland Violence Reduction Unit set up. And within that, interestingly, the person who heads that says, we've had a high level of violence in this country for 4 decades. And he recognises that violence hasn't increased particularly or substantially. It's existed, but we haven't had previously this violence reduction unit, but now we do. This is the Scottish Executive have set up the anti-violence campaign. This was launched in 2006, a year-long campaign, and this was part of the Safer Scotland campaign in Scotland. It lists 115 projects and has various papers attached to it. What's interesting is violence has become a category. It's a thing in itself that it can be used to try and analyse and understand many problems. So, for example, they mention war, rape and bullying. These are all forms of violence. Which to me seems quite problematic that you start to lump these very, very different things within this category of violence, try and understand them all together. They also list suicide, child abuse, robbery, racial violence, violence at work, gangs, so on and so forth. And the list goes on and on. And there seems to be a complete collapse of a capacity to analyse these things as perhaps being separate. So you get violence of children being lumped together with violence of adults, violence in the home, violence at work, and also state violence with the violence of individuals. And the distinction between these things appears to get lost. In the World Report on Violence and Health, this is in the summary, this is the opening paragraph, in terms of how it affects everybody. Violence, a universal challenge. It's something we can now unite around, if you like. It says, no country or community is untouched by violence. Images and account of violence pervade the media. It is on our streets, in our homes, schools, workplaces and institutions. Violence is a universal scourge that tears at the fabric of communities and threatens the life, health and happiness of us all. So run for the hills seems to be the message.